Welcome to another episode of J Inclusive. Please share, like, comment, subscribe, and set your notifications on so you are alerted every time I upload. From transgender people having their state-issued driver's licenses, identification cards, and birth certificates revoked overnight, while also being subjected to being sued anytime they used a restroom that does not align with their gender assigned at birth.
Two transgender people in Kansas are suing the state after a new law essentially canceled their driver's licenses. This sweeping new bill was passed by the state's Republican supermajority over the veto of the Democratic governor there. It forces trans people to use public restrooms that might not conform with their gender identity, and lets any citizens sue someone they think is trans for $1,000 if they violate that rule. But the driver's licenses are at the heart of this legal battle, with Kansas now requiring that trans people only have licenses that match their sex at birth. The plaintiffs allege that the state deprived them of their ability to operate their cars without any notice or opportunity to be heard. Our team is out to the state's governor and representatives in the Republican legislature, but has not heard back. Kate Chappell is a reporter for our Chicago station and is joining me now. Kate, talk us through the allegations laid out here in this lawsuit against the state. I understand you're talking with one of the lawyers here.
Yasmin, that's right. I spoke with an attorney for the ACLU who tells me they filed late last night seeking a temporary injunction for now, eventually a permanent one. They call this law unconstitutional, saying it violates guarantees of personal autonomy, privacy, and equality. It was filed on behalf of two transgender men in Kansas who say they either have to drive while they're at work or in order to get to work. They filed under pseudonyms in order to protect their identities. And they say this new law puts them in immediate danger of civil and criminal penalties with no notice, and that only a judge blocking the law would prevent so-called irreparable harm. And they say this new law essentially outs them against their will every time they have to use the bathroom or show an ID in public. Here's what that lawyer had to say.
I think that puts trans people in an impossible position, right? They can use the restroom that matches their gender and risk a lawsuit like this. They can use the restroom that matches their sex assigned at birth and also risk getting sued because someone thinks they're in the wrong restroom. Or they can not be in society at all and choose to not go places where they might need to use a restroom with other people.
And transgender Kansans with those now invalid licenses will need to surrender them and get a new one reissued that matches their biological sex.
To New Hampshire passing the Charlie Kirk Act, which bans school districts and personnel from the instruction of critical race theory and LGBTQ ideologies in school.
On a 184 to 164 vote, the New Hampshire House passed the Charlie Kirk Act Thursday, which would prohibit school districts and personnel from the instruction of critical race theory and LGBTQ plus ideologies in school.
There is so much for the Black LGBT community to focus on, but instead, Twitter and Instagram professors are arguing over this man's butt.
Why?
Darien is a typical social media user who posts workout photos and videos, mainly focused on his backside, which has become his social media niche. He often receives a lot of compliments from people of all genders and sexual orientations, but it was this video that made him go viral. Someone left a comment underneath the video stating, "Why do you even want to look like this as a man? I love fat asses, but for it to look like this on a man, I'm good. Y'all be wanting to look like females." And from there, it all went downhill. Y'all make ass y'all entire personality. I promise we see the ass. Once the booty start looking Dorito-ish, I get the ick. Y'all worship Trey Coolin for his fat ass and praise Marshall Price for his. So why is this man different? This prompted Darien to respond.
My ass is perfect, you bald-headed bitch.
I don't do anything but mind my business and be sexy. But you guys want to go out your way to disrespect me for having a big butt? I also think it's so evident that I work out. You can tell by my body composition. The BBL and fake booty remarks aren't moving me. And it would be these next set of comments that would start a firestorm. If he was light-skinned, y'all would like this a lot. But we not gonna wake that tea up. So this person responded to Ray with, "What does being light-skinned have to do with anything? Insecure brown and dark skins always reveal themselves when they say stuff like this. Girl, if you hate your skin tone, take that up with your mom and dad." To which Ray's cheeks clapped back. Y'all, don't say stuff about that ugly pale boy with that big-ass butt. None of them ugly-ass light-skinned boys or Hispanics, but y'all dogpile him and the big-booty African who do the dance class. Dark-skinned people are the biggest haters, and we all understand why. Light-skins can be chillin', sitting in the corner, and here comes the ugly dark-skins hating. Someone told Ray, he's the same color as you. And y'all both semi-closely have the same shape.
Hell no.
His just doesn't fit his body. Shut up with these broad-ass comments thinking it's woke.
Sleep cause of y'all! Y'all not gonna get a sleep cause of me!
This person told Ray, mind you, you just posted a pic similar and people hyped you up. So how that makes sense? At this point, everyone started coming into the bakery, including adult content creator Drummer Boy. That's his point. It's a mess, and people would like it because he was light-skinned. The most mediocre light-skinned people get on here and do nothing and end up on. Now that's TV shows, and they don't even be light-skinned. They be Latinos or some random mulatto trying to sound nothing like their white mama. This user told Drummer Boy. Now that's TV show, which literally is the definition of mediocrity. Having high regard to you in this argument is probably a part of the problem here. Sometimes y'all inflate issues a little too much. To which Drummer responded with this tweet before having his cheeks slapped out of the Krispy Kreme, not arguing with someone who doesn't understand what an implication is. You even had kept secret peeking through the sheets with this tweet, which someone kindly told him, now we know you will have sex with anything. Now someone responded to Ray, and they brought up someone whom I first thought of when I first saw this story, a guy whose body and skin tone matched Darien's to a T. Is Deontay light-skinned? This boy is just ugly with a weird big ass, and that's okay. He obviously likes the attention, otherwise his video would be so ass-focused.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
If you aren't familiar with who Deontay is, he is the gay black man who went viral this past December on Christmas Day after being harassed by a woman in a grocery store for being gay. Around that time, people were flooding his comment section, praising him for his butt, saying the woman was simply jealous of his cheeks. And even I was in his comment section.
Girl, you a raggedy ass bitch.
While all of this was going on, some people were jokingly calling Deontay messy for posting these tweets, while others began warning him that the Rump administration was out here policing cheeks. Don't show off your body on Twitter. For some reason, if your body is T, now miserable people on Twitter will hate on you because you simply look better. Deon has yet to receive any nasty comments in regards to his body, and he's actually used the attention from his past viral moment to promote his workout course. His post, which to date has been viewed over 7 million times, has continued to receive support, mainly for the way his body looks.
Damn.
Now, while Deon remained unscathed, the online discourse surrounding Darien continued. How is this colorism? They love using that when it doesn't apply. He's right, though. Y'all fan over anything light-skinned. That's a well-known fact within the black community. Is colorism an issue in the black community? Yes. Does it apply here? Not at all. Words have meanings. And it's annoying how y'all just throw them around for social media gotcha moments, but end up collectively looking like birds. The only big bird is you believing this has nothing to do with colorism. Besides the typical, if this was a light skin, y'all would like it. Explain how this is colorism, because at this point, that's the only argument. And it usually doesn't apply. Big booties don't only look good on light skins. No one even implied that here. They just said his booty shape funny. So that instantly correlates to colorism? What opportunities did he have taken from him? Because a light skin had a booty too. What random light skin came out and said their booty was better than his? Please just point me to the part that was colorist in this scenario. The hate he's getting is because he's of darker complexion. If he was light, he would have been getting compliments up and down. Y'all are quick to throw jabs at darker skinned folks. You're just making this up though to fit a narrative. At no point did anyone say, this dark skin has an ugly shaped butt. Again, we can acknowledge colorism exists without always diminishing to this low level. This is not colorism in no way. Because darker skinned men who appear to be more masculine as a result of their features and skin color aren't supposed to have attributes associated with femininity, i.e. a bigger butt. Education is free. Y'all be so quick to swallow, but slow to educate. This wasn't the read you thought. We know what colorism is and how it affects dark-skinned people. That's not what's happening here, though. Again, y'all are trying to conflate critique of the person who happens to be dark-skinned to colorism, and it's not sticking. Nothing about this man seems masculine, and it's very common for dark-skinned folks to be thicker, which is why we used to be put in zoos. Education isn't an issue over here, just trying to point out the misuse in the word. This wasn't colorism just because y'all feel like it. Words have meanings. This person stated, "For light skin and mixed males, try to ignore the truth about colorism within our community. That's diabolical. But also to ignore the fact that darker complex people quick to pull race card as a combat to bullshit is another reality as well. Folks need to stop sexualizing everything, to be honest. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done, and I pray that everyone takes the time to seek out therapy because you are actually holding yourself back from happiness. No one else is." I saw plenty of comments from people in and outside of the community. And honestly, some people seem to be uncomfortable with him coming off feminine, some seem jealous, and others seem to have an issue with believing his butt is real, even when it comes to women. Nicki Minaj and Cardi B constantly get made fun of, as well as trans women of all complexions. One of them being Cherry the Boom. And if we're being honest, even Darien fits a beauty standard that other brown-skinned and dark-skinned men don't have access to. Because my question is, how many of these people would be in the comments swinging against colorism if Darien was the same complexion but gay, feminine, and overweight?
Hey gays, real quick. So, can we talk about how fat tops are now being glorified all over the gay community for having dad bods? But can we also talk about the fact that fat bottoms are now even more shunned than we once were? Like, it's the strangest thing to me. Like, y'all prefer these little Twinkie bottoms out here, but fat bottoms can take it way better than these little skinny twink bottoms. Like, can someone please explain to me what it is about fat bottoms that y'all just don't like? Do y'all think we stink? Do y'all think that we're not able to physically, like, keep up with you in the bedroom? Why y'all don't like fat bottoms?
When we talk about no fats, in a 2024 survey where gay men were asked which degree of muscularity they found most attractive, 46% of them rated the muscular physique as the most attractive, 30% preferred the athletic physique, and 22% preferred the bodybuilder physique. The participants were then asked what body fat percentage they found most attractive. 65% chose the leanest physique, which is somewhere between 8 to 10% body fat. 34% chose the body with a flat stomach, somewhere around 14 to 17% body fat. Only one person preferred a higher body fat percentage than that.
So apparently there was a video. It was a video about this gay dude, right? You know, I talk about gay people. And he was, I think, on his weight loss journey. He was like a bigger dude. And he's saying that he cannot be with someone who's fat, who just wants to be fat. He wants to be with somebody who's lost weight or who's actively losing weight, who's also a bigger dude, right? So he won't go back into his old way. And basically a lot of people came for him, and then there was other people that was defending him, usually how things work out on social media. Some were saying it was the way that he was articulating it was the way that he was approaching it. And then others were sitting there saying, okay, well, you guys are doing too much. You guys misinterpreted what he was saying, and I think that his feelings are valid. Here's the thing, as somebody who's a bigger dude, I have yet to actually get into the gym. I've been busy just existing and living. The gym is very much a commitment. Eating healthy is a commitment. I have done gym and I've eaten certain types of foods and yo-yo diets since I was like a teenager. I find this to be so interesting because at the end of the day, I think people are really upset with him. I haven't seen the video, so I'm just going to make an implication, right? I think people are upset with him simply due to the fact, yes, his delivery probably, right? He probably was being a little bit extra, as most gays are, but he's also a bigger dude. People do not think that bigger gays, bigger people in general, but especially like in the gay community, bigger men should have the ability to even have like preferences. It's very much, you should be grateful for what you have, especially if you are a bigger dude and you are feminine. You should be grateful that somebody likes you, especially if it's a masculine man. Who cares if the face is chopped? If he has abs, if he has a big old, you know what, then you should be happy and grateful that he picked you because, I mean, just look at you. There's a lot of wanting to humble people who do not fit into a very specific type of body, right? Who have specific kind of looks. It's very much, I need to humble you. I need to let you understand. I need to let you know that there is a hierarchy and you're at the bottom. Right. Even in that conversation, I was talking about, you know, why do all of these black men in Hollywood, these gay black men, have white partners? There were some people who were stitching and some people making comments talking about, well, black bottoms are at the bottom of the hierarchy. And so at the end of the day, as a black bottom, even if you have a chiseled, you know, physique and you have a nice jawline, everything looks good, skin is clear, I mean, teeth are white, everything's perfect, right? It's still difficult because you are a girl and you are not a twink, and so you should just sit there and be grateful for the fact that this white guy picked you, right? Especially if he's conveniently attractive. It's just so disheartening to me because if you are somebody who is big and you have confidence, and you are somebody who's big and have confidence, and you are somebody who dresses well and you are feminine, there is still this thing of, I have to make an example out of you. Most of the dudes that I've seen online who are big, maybe I would say maybe they're like butch queens. I won't say like they're fully committed to being feminine, but like they're not fully committed to being masculine. They're kind of in between. I've seen them go from being like, you know, these bigger dudes, you know, loving it, to all of a sudden you blink and now they're jacked. Now they're jacked. Suddenly they're not body positive. Nobody really sticks with the body positive because at the root of it, the reason why I would never get pretty punishment. I'm so sorry. Not saying that conveniently attractive people deserve to be treated and beaten, and no, I'm not saying that, right? But I would never care about the implications or the narrative that because you are conveniently attractive, you go through way worse things than somebody who isn't conveniently attractive. Because at the end of the day, even the people who are pioneers for being, you know, body positive, even the ones who are confident, even the ones who are bigger and saying, I don't, you know, even the ones who are bigger and masculine, because masculinity is part of the hierarchy and masculinity is above femininity, even within the queer community, right? I would say even more so in the queer community because we are men. Even with all that, right, you know, being a bigger dude, a lot of them will succumb to the standards that is constantly being pushed upon them. A lot of people have been conditioned to think that certain bodies look a certain way. A lot of people will sit there and want to be accepted. Long story somewhat short, nobody likes to live as a protest, right? Nobody wants to feel like their existence is a continuous protest, right? Feeling like they have to be somebody, feeling like they have to represent XYZ. Some people just want to fit in. Some people just want to fit in. And I don't know about this dude, and I don't know about the bigger dude. Again, I haven't seen the video. I don't know the full context. But I just think it's really funny to me how people go around and get so upset, right, when somebody who's bigger says, I want to date somebody who's also like me or doing that, because it's like, you guys can do it. No facts, right? But when somebody decides to sit there and do it and they're big, it's like, no. The Hunchback of Notre Dame does not get to sit there and tell Esmeralda that she's not his type.
This is my young gay boys. This is my message for you. Or anybody that's like struggled with like body dysmorphia their whole life. No matter what size you are, please love yourself first. Before you go on Grindr, any dating apps, start putting yourself out there, like you really have to learn to love yourself first. This is especially to the young like gay kids that like grow up, and I'm specifically speaking on gay boys, because the like no fats, no femmes kind of movement and just like the body dysmorphia and just the fat phobic rhetoric that's in the gay community amongst gay men is just like, it's been rampant, but it's gotten worse, I've noticed, over the past few years. And I just think back to how I felt as a young gay growing up and just like how mentally ill it made me, you know? Like during this time, I swore I was fat. Like, mind you, during this, like, I'm just gonna be real. I had like family members always growing up comment like, "Oh, you're husky. Like, do you really need to eat that? You're getting a little big." Like, during this time, like, I genuinely believed I was fat. Like, I felt like the biggest, fattest, nastiest, sloppiest bitch ever. Mind you, I was not fat. Looking back, I was not fat. That was like one of the skinniest times of my life. But because I had like family members like literally putting in my head that I was fat, and then like at that age trying to start dating, and then seeing like the whole no fats no femmes thing, and just like how like amongst gay men. It's just like not having a six pack or like being a certain body type. You were just a big fat sloppy bitch. Like that's just the truth. And I carried, mind you, I'm 26 now. I think then I was like, in that picture, I think I was like 16, 17. I carried that with me for years. And I've had issues with my body for years because of family and then also like trying to date as a gay man. And something I wish someone would have told my younger self was, one, you're not fat. And two, like how other people's opinion of your body, especially like when I was basically a child, is irrelevant. And then like going through like being body shamed from my own family until like being body shamed in my dating life was not fun. It was not fun. So this day, like, and the reason I'm bringing this up is like recently, like somebody called me, well, I was body shamed again. And it's just brought me back to that place that I was when I was younger. I was like, damn, like now, I mean, a bitch can call me a little fat. Now I done got a little fat now, but like, damn, like not too much. But moral of the story is, like, please, before you put yourself out there in the world, love yourself first, because the world is cruel, especially growing up as a gay boy, into a gay man. They're ruthless, you know what I mean? And you really have to develop a thick skin. And it sucks to say, but you do, because that's just the reality of our community. Which brings me to my next point. I wish there was something that we would change, but, you know, the gays will be the gays. So my biggest advice is to really, really work on loving yourself first and not letting anybody define you or your body, and, you know, confidence. You know what I mean? That's it.
If Ray really wanted to wake something up, that's what he should have said. But for a lot of people, colorism is performative. Prior to getting on YouTube, I've had some content creators whose platforms were built on speaking out against colorism approach me, fixated on my complexion, my features, and immediately labeling me a pretty boy, and the shit was weird. He is actually desirable to those who are colorists because of his physique. Just ask Cokezilla, who is a self-admitted colorist, who has made it known he doesn't like brown-skinned or dark-skinned men, and has stated that the only reason dated Cocky Boy was because he has a fat butt.
All right, story time. Okay, so I remember one time, it was like 2013. It was my first situation ever dealing with a stalker. Now, I will say this. I did encourage that stalker, because every time I got lonely or I was like bored or I was a little horny, you know what I'm saying, I would hit that stalker up because I'm picky. Because I'm picky and I don't like to meet new people because I'm me. So I go with my routine, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So I did encourage the stalker, but I didn't like the stalker like that, but the stalker had a fat ass and they had waves. And y'all know I'm a sucker for fat asses, waves, and abs. They get me every time. Anyway, this stalker was different though, because normally I like a certain type of person, but this stalker was completely different. But that ass was so... Anyway.
I think Darien looks phenomenal. And if anything, we should be using this conversation as a way to shine light on brown skin and dark skinned men in general, not just the ones who are desirable and look like Darien, Deon, Chino Black, or others. It's also important to note that it's human nature to read 999 positive comments, but if that 1,000th comment is negative, for some, it can completely overshadow the 999 positive ones. If you actually go to his social media, he receives way more praise for his looks than negative.
You know I ain't sleeping alone, but